Hello, it's good to have you join us on Panorama. ECOWAS Heads of State Summit ends in Guinea-Bissau with a resolve to strengthen bilateral relations and defend the territorial integrity of the West African sub-region. Leaders go spiritual as the country seeks solution to ending insecurity and engender good governance. Plus, former Chief of Defense Staff urges well-meaning citizens to collaborate with government at all levels to build a Nigeria we can be proud of. We'll bring you the details of all these and more shortly. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ruth Aguela. The 63rd Ordinary Session of ECOWAS Heads of State and Government has ended in Guinea-Bissau, with the leaders resolving to strengthen their bilateral ties and defend the regional integrity of the sub-region against any form of terrorism. At the end of the summit, Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was elected as the chairman of the sub-regional organization. Let's get details now from Garba Nata'Allah.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is among West African leaders that attended the 63rd Ordinary Session of the Authority of the ECOWAS Heads of State and Government. He was warmly received by the President of Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco Embalo, as well as other leaders. Top on the agenda were matters of regional security, the return of democracy in the republics of Mali, Burkina Faso and Guinea, which is imperative for political stability in the region. President Embalo encouraged member states to work out modalities on how to mobilize financial resources to stem the tide of insecurity and terrorism, as well as accelerate economic growth of the sub-region.
Since we assumed the chairmanship of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS, and in the face of multiform and unpredictable challenges, we have devoted much time and all our energy on various fronts, regional and international, in order to defend the interests of our member states through various initiatives and diplomatic efforts, carried out with the invaluable contribution of the mediators and special envoys to some along with institutions and strategic partners, in order to strengthen the architecture of peace and human security in our sub-region.
Nigeria and Sierra Leone were congratulated for their successful conduct of recent elections.
In February, a few developments have taken place in our community. We witnessed the general elections in Nigeria, which saw the emergence of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the President of the Republic of Nigeria. I would like, therefore, to welcome President Tinubu to his first meeting of the ECOWAS Authority. On behalf of the community institutions, I would like to extend our felicitation and best wishes in piloting the affairs of Africa's biggest economy and the largest country, the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
ECOWAS Commission President also used the opportunity to commend former President Muhammadu Buhari while as the then chairman of the ECOWAS for ensuring political stability in the Gambia and build the institution's headquarters in Abuja. At the end of the summit, President Tinubu was elected as the next chairman of ECOWAS from July 2023 to 2024.
Let me first and foremost commit myself to the principle and rule of law. We had a lengthy discussion this morning. Till now, we must be firm on democracy. Democracy being the best form of government. We sat here, we make some sacrifices for it. Without democracy, there's no chance. There's no freedom. There's no rule of law. We will not allow coup after coup.
Special advisor on communication and strategy to the president, Dele Alake, briefed on Nigeria's strategic position.
It is the efficacy of the policies and the general acceptance of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies that have resulted in part into this election as the new chairman of the ECOWAS. Actually, even from Paris, when we were in Paris for the global summit, we've been having feelers. Some heads of states of West Africa had been coming around to actually drop the hint that they wanted him.
From Guinea-Bissau, I am Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
Back home, Governor Basi Otto has rededicated Cross River State to God and sued for peace and unity of purpose and respect for constituted authorities to fast-track needed socio-economic progress and prosperity of the state and Nigeria at large. This was the standpoint of the governor at a maiden solemn assembly and fasting program of his administration. Justina Etem reports.
It was a spiritual gathering of a cross-section of Cross Riverians, friends of the states, political appointees and the political class amidst praise, worship, prayers that rekindled the hope of the people that progress is in the making. As the congregation invoked God's blessings, healings and restoration of Cross River State and Nigeria. The state's governor, Senator Basi Otto, who took one of the Bible readings, gave assurances and words of encouragement to the people with a promise to include the solemn assembly in the state's government's program calendar.
I know all the people you put together in office will not be able to do this job without all of you coming together. I always say that Cross River State is a land of abundance, and it is time for us to begin to experience it. Don't pull down your brother, don't pull down your sister. Because if you do, then you might not attain that particular pedestal which Almighty God wants you.
Harping on the theme of the solemn assembly, "Oh God, heal the land," the initiator and wife of the governor, Reverend Eyongwan Otto, explains the reasons behind the program.
Now, stories of war, calamity everywhere, armed robbery, rape, insurgency, ritual killing, pulling one down, and hatred in our midst, which shouldn't be so.
Most symbolic were prayers for the governor and his wife, as well as other leaders, encouraging them to shoulder the enormous task before them. In Calabar, Justina Etem, NTA News.
The Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission says it will continue to advocate unity, peace and national coexistence amongst Nigerians. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam, stated this while interacting with the media in Abuja. Reverend Pam also used the occasion to assure Christians and indeed Nigerians of an improved service delivery in the pilgrimage exercise in Israel and the Kingdom of Jordan.
Headquarters, which is about 40% already now, to be completed this year and to be dedicated this year. It's a very big building with a big hall, a cathedral taking about 2,500 and taking pilgrims, and also an accommodation that will be inside it. And so we are hoping by the special grace of God we'll have that. The greatest of all is to make sure that we have a good planning from the challenges that I have had in the past 3 years. I'm putting things together to have a standard planning for this organization.
Reverend Pam, who is now 3 years in office as the Executive Secretary of the Commission, commended the staff for their support since his assumption of duty. Right, to other issues, the Nigeria Police Force is urging Nigerians to disregard a recent police recruitment advertisement trending on social media platforms. The force in a statement, says it has not commenced the 2022-2023 police constables recruitment, contrary to the fake publication. The force assures Nigerians that the commencement of the 2022-2023 recruitment exercise will be announced via the official police e-recruitment website. Meanwhile, the Acting Inspector General of Police further restates the commitment of the present police leadership to a standardized recruitment process with a view to having more competent and suitable recruit intakes into the policing system in Nigeria. All right, we'll take this break now. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Welcome back. If you recall, the father of 19-year-old Misoma Ejikeme has apologized to JAMB and Nigerians for his daughter's falsification of her UTME result. He said his daughter lied to him. Our correspondent, Chinyere Fesi Okoye, reports that this development has warranted the withdrawal of the sum of 3 million naira scholarship offered by an Inewi businessman. Let's see that.
Upon arrival at the residential home Ejikeme, Mesoma saw us and took to her heels, but we were able to get the reaction of the father.
I don't expect that she will do this kind of thing. She did what she's supposed to do. Are you getting me? She's brilliant enough to avoid this kind of thing. And I'm still apologizing to the whole Nigerian Sanjam to pardon.
Efforts to get reaction of any member of the panel of inquiry set up by the Anambra State government and the school authority at the time of filing this report did not yield positive results, but some concerned citizens speak.
Generally, I see it as a reflection of the level of moral and social decadence. If she knew that she was to be punished accordingly, I think that she wouldn't have been tempted, encouraged to get into that. 2 or 3 ladies or one lady who has a human heart can take her in and discover how. You need to unearth how. Because if she's a teenager and an adult is somewhere deceiving her, planting all those rubbish in her, the rot would have fallen on that person, not Mesoma. How can she manipulate JAMB website in her phone and she was unable to show you how she manipulated it? The first mission is to show us how you did that.
Meanwhile, Nnewi-based businessman who earlier awarded 3 million naira scholarship to Mesoma in a press statement says the scholarship has been withdrawn following the UTME score manipulation. From Nnewi, Chinyere Fesi Okoye, NTN News.
Well, you recall throughout last week, the issue of Mesoma's UTME result dominated discussions as controversy over her correct score, and what she paraded as being the score generated a lot of concerns, with people taking sides with either JAMB or Mesoma. But at last, JAMB was vindicated after a panel set up by the investigative committee set up by the Anambra State government. The they came out to reveal that Ms. Oma's UTME result was actually doctored. Now, joining us live via Zoom to shed more light on the issue is the Anambra State Commissioner for Education, Professor Ngozi Chuma Ude. Good day, Prof. Thank you very much for joining us on Panorama.
Thank you.
All right, Prof, I'm sure you were part of the committee set up by the Anambra State government, and they came up with their findings and must have made some recommendations. Tell us, what was the committee's recommendations to forestall such future occurrence?
The major recommendation actually is rehabilitation of Ms. Oma, which the governor has given a go-ahead order that she be handed over to a guidance counselor who will rehabilitate her, because as it is at this particular point in time, Mr. Governor is no longer interested in trading blames. The deed has been done. All we want to do now is to reclaim our child and bring her back, because this is an act of delinquency. And if we let her go, if we don't take time at this particular point in time, we will lose her completely. So the governor has ordered a counseling session for her. In fact, series of counseling sessions, but we have started with the state guidance counselor. So I think that is our major. Then the other one is that she should apologize, which I know she has. The father has already done. They have apologized. But ordinarily, it is the counseling that is our issue right now. We want to bring her back. We want to redirect her consciousness. We want to put her on the right path. For us, for the society, and for the future generation.
All right, it's good you mentioned counseling, because you will need all of that at this critical time. But what lessons do you think stakeholders, people in the educational sector can take out of this? Because this is something that is not really common, but for it to even go public and reason controversy, it's an issue of concern.
It is a time for us to have an inward look into ourselves, our systems, and to know that whatever we give is what we receive. It is time to let ourselves fashion out ways of improving the lives of the future generation by setting good, solid, and sustainable examples, by living lives worthy of emulation. It is not just about Ms. Oma, derailing. It is about the whole generation coming behind us, derailing too. We have a lot of work to do, a lot of orientations to do on the generation that is upcoming, and on ourselves too. Because what you give is what you get.
What about parenting, Prof? Because this is a case of forgery, deceit, and consent. What is the role of parenting in all of this? Because the father admitted that she lied to him. What role should parents begin to play to pay more attention to their words, especially when it comes to education?
Yes, parenting, of course. But I have to tell you that we are not going to let the blames on the door of the parents alone. The children have peers out there, and you cannot overrule peer influence in their lives. And, parenting too, but then not really that. We also include the quality of teachers and the quality of teaching. What goes on in the classroom situation, then what goes on in the home situation too. It's a part of nature-nurture controversy. This we shall all take care of. But what we are at this present time looking at is, how are we going to get these young ones to know, to discern between good and bad? We can only do that if we are able also to delineate between good and bad. So I am not going to lay this blame solely at the doorstep of parenting. You may be a good parent, do everything you have to do, but the child gets out there and gets entangled in the mesh of peer groups and comes back home to present another thing. And in these present harsh realities we are facing, nobody will sit down at home to monitor a child. I don't know if you understand me.
Prof, of course, yes, but that doesn't mean negligence, should be the order of the day, but not to dwell on that. Part of the recommendations, aside rehabilitation and counseling that will be provided for Mmesoma, one of the respondents from the report we played earlier talked about conspiracy. Mmesoma couldn't have done that on her own. Did the committee, investigated maybe persons she must have collaborated with to come up with that?
From our investigations and from what was tendered before us, I think Mmesoma manipulated the result herself, then went to a center to print it out. The center printed out what she wanted them to print out. And from what JAMB said, we also noticed that she manipulated these things on her phone. So, from what we gathered, from the evidence she presented and the evidence JAMB presented, I don't think there were cohorts.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Ngozi Chuma Ude. She's the Commissioner for Education in Anambra State. Thank you very much for joining us on the news.
Thank you.
All right. We turn to other issues. The immediate past Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Irabor has urged well-meaning Nigerians to join hands with government at all levels to build a viable country. General Irabor made the plea during the reception organized by the Ika Nation of His Honor at Agbo, Delta State. Tessie Kuka reports.
General Lucky Irabor has served the country for 37 years, upon which he contributed his quota in the fight against insurgency. He's retired but not tired to still serve his country, hence his commitment to his military oath to defend the territorial integrity of the nation.
There is no nation that is better than Nigeria. I hear you. East or west, home is the best. And I know that everyone as a Nigerian, all Nigerians will join hands with him, along with indeed all well-meaning Nigerians, to ensure that not only do we have a Nigeria of our dreams, that everyone will be proud to be a Nigerian.
The new Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, commended General Irabor for his diligence and brilliant marksmanship.
He has done extremely very well, has represented the armed forces, and especially the Ika Nation.
For his kids and kin, they will ensure that all youth shun negative vices and channel their energy to meaningful ventures. The governor of Delta State, Sheriff Oborowori, the immediate past governor, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, and other dignitaries extolled the sterling qualities of the ex-Army General.
And one thing I find about him is somebody that has the passion to serve.
The people of Ika Nation are happy and proud of a man who has spent part of his lifetime serving the nation. In Asaba, Tessie Koka, NTA News.
Next is sports update.
We begin with volleyball. Nigeria beat Ghana 3-0, 25-10, 25-15, 25-10 to lift the Women's Trophy at the 2023 African Under-21 Nations Volleyball Championships on 3 in Niamey, Niger Republic on Sunday. Team Nigeria went through the entire tournament without dropping a single set to be crowned champions while beating Ghana twice in the mix. Head coach of Nigeria Under-21 Women's Team, Rekia Mohammed, expressed her happiness over the victory of the team.
I'm the happiest coach on earth today, because this is the first time Nigeria is picking a trophy in the underage championship. So I feel so happy. The Ghanaians came all out to play the Nigerian team, but the girls showed them that Kachino be leather. That's how we played, and we defeated them. We've lifted the trophy and we are taking it back to Nigeria.
Nigeria men's basketball team, the Tigers, beat Mali in their opening Group B game at the second edition of the 2023 FIBA African Holding in Angola. In Sunday's encounter, the Tigers emerged victorious with a 62-56 points win over Malians. Up next for the Tigers is a tough fixture against host Angola on Monday in the three-team group. The second edition of the FIBA AfroCan kick-off on Saturday, July 8th and will end July 16th. And finally, to tennis. Reigning Wimbledon champion Novak Djokovic needs just one set to reach the quarterfinals after a thrilling match with Robert Hurkacz could not be completed in time on Sunday night. Djokovic edged out 2 fine tie breaks despite some powerful Herbert serving. When it resumes on Sunday, Djokovic will have 7-6, 7-6 leads. Djokovic has won Wimbledon 7 times and is aiming to equal Roger Federer's record of 8 wins in the men's singles. With Sport Update, Suleiman Musa, NTA News.
And that concludes Panorama. Thank you very much for your time. Do have a good day ahead. I'm Ruth Aguilera.
Information is power.